So around like a year ago, back in December, I was featured on Babyface Ray's album Mob with Pooh. We did track 12, Masterpiece, and I really love that song. So I just wanted to break down the sample and just break down my process of making it. So yeah, let's get into it. Now the first thing I start off with is the chords, and I was going for more of an R&B slash like neo soul combination type of vibe, and I essentially just used these to build off the rest of the elements, just using it like a foundation. Now after having the chords finished, that's when I was like, alright, I need to add some like piano or something. So I went on to Piano Book and I was just scrolling until I found something that I liked, which is when I landed on these two pianos. Now after having these laid down, this is when I started to add some more effects and etc. to just make them fit into the vibe. And finally, I rounded off this section with the pianos with one more layer, and this time I used Keyscape, and I like to use the wing upright. I feel like that piano works in most samples or in most situations, and it really just rounded off the pianos nicely. Now at this point, it still felt as if the sample needed some more elements and it still needed to fill up certain pockets. So this is when I pulled up stage 73 and I was just freestyling until I came up with this run, and I just sort of left it in. Now after I have like the keys and the piano sort of laid down, this is when I grabbed my bass and I just laid down like a pretty simple foundation. And I try not to do too much with the bass since I was planning on doing a lot of other things with the other elements or whatever. I didn't want to just overcomplicate it and do too much. And I try to keep the processing simple. Only thing I really did is I did a bunch of EQing to try and make the bass not sound as muddy, and that's really it. Alright, so now after I had the bass laid down, this is when I went ahead and I grabbed a perk loop. I think this is from Me and Five's Aperture kit, and I just have that going on in the background to provide like a rhythm to the sample. So I grabbed my guitar and I sort of just freestyling off the top, adding in a bunch of licks, ornaments, all of that per usual. And I got the main chords to build a foundation of the guitar track. And I tried to incorporate these in a way to where it didn't like overcrowd the sample or it didn't muddy up the sample, but it still added some dynamics to the sample and it still sounds interesting. Now for the next few parts, this is when I focus on the synths and I just use these as a texture. And as where I got them from, I got it from mainly my Rev 2. I like to just browse through the presets and just freestyle and all of that. So I start off with this top line. Now for the top line, I don't like to have it playing throughout the whole thing, so I only have it come throughout certain parts of the sample to accentuate certain melodies and all of that. And as for the processing, I actually did this with my pedal board. I have the Thermi, some chorus, and the shallow water. Those are my main three pedals that I like to use when I have my Rev 2 on. And after having that recorded into my DAW, I like to put on some reverb and then some shaper box on top of that. And this essentially applies for the rest of the synths as well. This is what I use for the backing synth number 1 and for backing synth number 2. I just use these to essentially just build up the sample and just add some more texture as well as some more dynamics and variety to the sample so that it doesn't sound stale. And finally, one of the last things that I added is the vocals. And I kind of just have these sitting in the background, not really doing too much. And as for the processing, I kept it pretty simple, only using a compressor and some format shifting. Thank you you guys for the support. Thank you for watching the video. If you want to hear more stuff like this, then don't forget to check out my latest single on Spotify. And if you want to get samples like this every month, then don't forget to check out the Patreon. And I'm gonna catch y'all in a bit. Peace.